All right. Thanks for tuning in. Now, as you know, I'm kind of devoted to Tulsi Gabbard on this channel. It's called Tulsiology for a reason, because I wanted it to be about Tulsi, to focus on important issues that she was raising. Today's a tough day for me because she sent out a tweet. And again, I'm not turning my back on Tulsi Gabbard. I'm not. She would have been the ultimate unifying candidate. And she also had great ideas, and she would have set the right tone for the country. And she has congratulated Joe Biden, okay, for quote unquote winning the election. Now, the reason I put it in air quotes is because this ain't done. I don't think this is done yet. And the reason I say that is because there needs to be recounts. These Dominion election machines, which I found out are tied to the Clinton Foundation, they need to be investigated. There was a 6,000 vote glitch in one county in Michigan. They only did one audit to find that. They didn't do the other 47 counties. So I'm thinking, if you're somebody who just a few weeks ago was talking about ballot harvesting, right? And just saying, hey, I've got this bill, with Tulsi Gabbard. She constantly has a bill for that. Okay, well, you have a bill for that, and you're truly concerned about that issue. I'm just wondering, have you been paying attention to some of the things that are coming out of the media, of course, mostly alternative media? And that is the problem. And Tulsi Gabbard also isn't a big fan of big tech, right? Big tech has been controlling and filtering information. So it's like a two-prong problem. You've got the filtering of information, and you've got ballots either showing up or not showing up, depending on what the circumstance is. And then you've also got faulty voter machines. Tulsi Gabbard wanted a paper ballot to be there, to be backed up, to have that. So to go out and say, hey, great job, Joe. And the woman he chose as vice president was Tulsi Gabbard's anti-Gabbard. She was an anti-Gabbard. She was the 180-degree version of Tulsi Gabbard, corrupt to the core. And also, again, Tulsi Gabbard destroyed her in the Democratic debate. And people are just like, oh, okay. And it's just very, I don't understand. Look, I went through this process before. I built up this channel, and the channel was based on Tulsi Gabbard fans and Tulsi Gabbard fans coming over to watch. I've been accused of, hey, you're just doing it for the money because this is a place where Tulsi, I'm doing it for something like $8 a day, $6 a day. Now it's down to like $4 a day. I'm doing it for the money. Nope. And it will continue to go down. And the weird thing is the channel continues to get throttled back. I'm losing subscribers. So I ain't doing it for the money. I was doing it because I wanted to promote somebody who I believe would be really good for the country and who had a good agenda. In addition to be really, is Joe Biden going to free Julian Assange? Is Joe Biden going to do a healthcare? No, Joe Biden is all about strengthening Obamacare, whatever that means. Again, it's a boon to insurance companies. I worked at a call center, and I've done this video like 3 or 4 times. I've had firsthand experience with what Obamacare is. And guess what? It's a giveaway to insurance companies. Not everybody qualifies for the subsidies. My point is that Tulsi Gabbard had a Medicare for All Plus plan, or whatever it was called. You can opt in if you need to. You can keep your insurance if you want to with your private company, with your job, if they offer it. but you could do either or, which I think is a practical solution to the issue. I remember she was destroyed by so-called progressives who just wanted the Medicare for all option, and they weren't interested in hearing any other alternative because, again, you keep insurance companies in business. And I understand that. People don't like insurance companies. But Obamacare doesn't even go near this debate. That basically protects insurance companies and takes more of your tax money and gives it to insurance companies. And there's a really good chance, by the way, that that individual mandate is going to come back. So you're going to get penalized if you don't have insurance. You're going to get taxed, which right away. This is not what most people want. All right. Now, I understand that people want Medicare for all, and I only want there to be a real way to pay for it. I want to know how it's going to get paid for, because again, everyday Americans really can't afford more taxation when their money isn't worth anything to begin with. When your buying power is low, you need all of that money for yourself. All right, so let me get back to my disappointment with this tweet. This is almost as disappointing the day she announced with Jimmy Dore that she did that little commercial, whatever you want to call it, where she said, hey, Joe is a good guy and Jill's a good guy. Apparently, none of that information about Hunter got to her or impacted her. And maybe she thinks it's all Russian disinformation, which is kind of funny because that's the kind of stuff she was accused of. And this is where I'm starting to kind of untether a little bit here. You know, I could change the name of the channel again, folks. I said I wouldn't, but you know, it's my channel. I make up the rules. I'm not saying I'm going to. And it's just one of those days where I'm going to have to see where Tulsi Gabbard goes from here. Is she going to be invited into the neoliberal administration? Is she going to get a job? It's not like they're not going to make Tulsi Gabbard Secretary of State, if that's what you're thinking. I mean, would I be more willing to support a Biden administration if Tulsi Gabbard were in it? I don't know. I really don't know. In fact, again, the two top people here are neoliberal warmongers who want to lock people up for small quantities of substances. Okay, we'll be nice. We'll use a word like substances. Okay. That's not Tulsi Gabbard. See, this is the reconciliation. See, when Tulsi Gabbard works with people across the aisle, like, you know, the Thomas Massey or the Justin Amash or somebody who has kind of liberty-oriented leanings, I love that. But when she starts to kind of say, okay, well, it's about tone. And I understand because she's about tone. But remember, Tulsi Gabbard could be a loudmouth when she needed to be. The Queen of Warmongers tweet. You don't think that's as toxic and hard-hitting as anything Donald Trump has ever said? Now, Donald Trump does the Don Rickles routine with the insults and so forth and the name calling, which some people, oh, you can't do. It's actually entertaining. To me, it is. I know supposedly suburban women don't like it. Okay. I understand it because they don't want their husbands to call them names. They don't want their kids to call them names. They just don't want to be. I get it. Men don't like it either to some degree. Supposedly more white men voted for Biden. So it's kind of an interesting thing. Trump picked up a lot more minority support, and Biden he did great with white men. I mean, that's your model, like a kind of senile, sort of twisted, weird, gropey. All right, I'll stop there. I could keep going. Time will tell, Tulsi Gabbard. Time will tell. And tone, by the way, is not going to save this country. I know everybody thinks tone, if you just put somebody in there with better tone, See, Americans wanted a fighter. Americans wanted bombastic. Americans liked the gloves being on. They did. And I think they still want that. They thought Bernie Sanders for about a minute was going to be like that. And then he folded up like a cheap tent. Tulsi Gabbard saw that the writing was on the wall. She had no way through this evil party, this evil party, which destroyed her for months, along with all the neoconservatives as well. You know, it's a little mind blowing. I mean, I understand she's very aloha. And I've had issues with this before where I'm like, really? I don't know if this should be something that you should celebrate, Tulsi. I don't know if you should turn the other cheek here. I don't know. I was really disappointed. I mean, I typically would do a video where I had the tweet up here. I just decided to do the full screen instead. But you can go look at the tweet where she congratulates Joe. And again, based on what she believes in and based on some of the information that's out there, I don't know if I'd be congratulating Joe. Not yet. You know, if it's a couple weeks before the inauguration, you know, Tulsi technically is still in Congress, she could send well wishes. She could say best of luck, something. But again, early on like this, she doesn't owe these people anything the way they came after her. I understand her upbringing and her, again, we'll use aloha, we'll use whatever, just her ability, I guess, to kind of be diplomatic in situations is maybe driving some of this, but I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm just being honest. Doesn't mean I don't like her. It just means I don't like it. It's just like if you're a Trump fan, there are things that he did that you don't like. All right. And if you're a Biden fan, you're just a Biden fan at this point because he's not Trump. And that's it. That's it. What has he got to offer the country? And people are listing things that he's going to do, like get back into the Paris Accords. That's a fake treaty. That's a lot like AOC's Green New Deal. It's a non-binding thing. Yes, we'll do what we're supposed to do. Nobody's held accountable. Is India and China going to be held accountable for what they're doing to the atmosphere? No. So it's a stupid treaty. Oh, and the Iran deal. You really want to give money to Iran? Like billions and billions of dollars? And they do nothing? What are they going to put all of their terrorists in jail? I don't think so. It's just bizarre to me that and the thing about Trump and the whole America First thing, right, was that we weren't going to give money to foreign countries. We weren't going to just give it away because that's empire building. That's all that is. We want to control everything. And then if we give you money, then we can tell you how to behave. No, that goes against allowing nations to be sovereign territories. Why is it that you can be for that deal and then be against like us going into Venezuela? You know, the foreign policy thing, if foreign policy is domestic policy, there needs to be some consistency to it. And people got to understand that, hey, people understand simply, in a much more simple way, that we're not giving money to Iran. That's probably a good thing. Why should we give money to Iran? We're not invading Venezuela. They want to, and I guarantee you, whoever Biden is going to pick, John Kasich is probably going to be in the Biden cabinet. John Kasich. And it wouldn't shock me if there were more Republicans or so-called, whatever they are now, neos, not rhinos, they're just neos. More neos in Biden's administration. Notice how there were no Democrats anywhere near Trump, other than Jared Kushner, which was a bad move. It's a bad move to me. It was stupid to have one of the mistakes Trump made was taking that guy's advice. Stupid. All right. So, I mean, I'm an equal opportunity offender. my position remains that Trump is better than Joe Biden, and it still is. That's why I cast the vote the way I did. And people are coming along and they're trying to trip me up and say, oh, the economy wasn't all that good. This didn't happen. We just got through with the largest GDP quarter in American history. And you could say, oh, it's because it was a recovery and because of COVID. Yeah, but no economists no way. They weren't looking for that. And by the way, this guy with the better tone is going to lock everyone down, and you're going to lose more civil liberties. And there's going to have to be like a libertarian progressive uprising. That's the way I look at it, where the progressives can hold their nose about certain economic things and just work with the libertarians. And maybe there's a libertarian proposal that can kind of do some things that the progressives want, or they can kind of meet in the middle somewhere. Because I'll tell you what, freedom and civil liberties are the two things that are going to drive the electorate in the weeks and months ahead. Once they see authoritarianism, and you could say Trump was authoritarian. I don't think he was. I think his rhetoric sounded authoritarian, and he saber rattled a lot, but he always kind of like he was going to go into a certain place, and then he said, no, I'm not going to do it, but I could solve this in 5 seconds. And he wanted the states to do what the states are supposed to do. He was giving them every opportunity to do it when it came to destruction of property and so forth. The states should have acted. Governments are supposed to protect their citizens from enemies, both foreign and domestic. It's pretty simple. Are we going to have somebody who's an authoritarian who becomes this, global terrorist who runs around the world and says, hey, we're going to go in here, we're going to go in over there, we need to free these people over here? Meanwhile, the American people are under lockdown, and in most of the globe, most of Europe is going under lockdown right now. That's a dark winter. Your dark winter began when they declared this idiot the winner. Okay? That's your dark winter began there. Now I'm holding out hope. It's a slim hope that somehow this gets completely overturned somehow, that sunlight will expose fraud. And Tulsi Gabbard, I'm a little perplexed. Election integrity, ballot harvesting. If there is no election integrity, look, Bernie got cheated, Trump got cheated. Hillary did both of those, probably. These voting machines, Clinton Foundation. You don't think there's a connection there? You don't think that needs to be investigated? That's just bizarre. We've become just, okay, let's just go along with what the media says. And, by the way, let's break all of the rules after all the Trump supporters got excoriated for showing up at rallies. They have like thousands of people in DC celebrating, and the wafting of cannabis in the air. Hey, it's fine. You want to do cannabis in the area? It's fine. I don't care. It's just selective outrage. And somebody said after the election, if Biden was to quote unquote win, that somehow COVID might not be a thing. But now you're going to hear people say, now that Biden is in charge, we can finally mask everybody up. We can finally mandate that everybody mask up. And I tell you what, that's going to destroy. There's so many things wrong with it. And I could do a separate video about it, but I won't. I just wanted to comment on Tulsi Gabbard and her tweet, which I found troubling. Again, we're still Tulsiology unless I decide to change the channel yet again. I'm losing subscribers, so does it really matter? As long as I don't go below 1,000, if there are 1,000 people that can keep watching this channel, I'm getting throttled back because I'm not saying what needs, what the people at the top of this approve of. And that's the truth. All right, so I'm done, and I'll see you soon.